Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 82nd episode of our first run through Book of Hours, playing as the artist. First run on YouTube, at least. Now, we left on a little bit of a cliffhanger in terms of trying to upgrade Inks of Revelation, so the things we're waiting for right now. First of all, a name day riddle, and then we've also discovered two new ways to make an old moment. So one will be done using fluids, but another will be done using the Nocturnary and a whole bunch of memories. But right now what our focus is, it's basically getting all of these, getting all of the relevant memories. We're going to keep the Stolen Secret to cross over into night, into the next day rather, and then hopefully Mrs. Kill will give me Revelation, but if not, sorry. If not, we'll just read the book when the time comes. So let's finish what we planned for today, and then from there we'll sort of figure out some next steps. Essentially, if Mrs. Kill winds up giving me the revelation that I need, at that point we just use the shaft to make a little bit more money. We don't really have a major use for it, but it's just kind of nice to have. Is this the way to the wood? But perhaps the wood is not a suitable place for the librarian. The name day riddle, a deceptively intricate riddle that might just teach us who we really are. Gervenius van Loren was notoriously fond of these. Okay, so we've got the Edict's Liminal back, but that's not really going to matter for today. And I suspect Mrs. Kill won't give us... well, we're probably okay. Okay, Hawthorne Black, favored by the Horned Axe. Really running out of space up here. Fragrant pears, soft in the hand. So I'll put that in the kitchen. This is more of a precaution just in case I need to feed one of my vegetarian beasties. And then these should be more traditional vegetables. Stew in waiting. Although, again, the pantry is looking quite full. Not a terrible state to be in, but that is a very contented looking cat in the kitchen, but it does create some logistical problems on my part. Okay, before I forget, let's pick up that package that I've been meaning to open. We'll obviously do that at a separate time. But now we just get to watch the plan come together. Okay, another regret. There it is in Camino Tizzer, Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but their scant trace of the continent in her accent now. Mrs. Kill has seen more of the world than she usually lets on. Conversations with her yield the occasional surprise. So I want to get a quick read on how much time I have for... okay, so 49 seconds. What I'm really trying to work out here is with... it's like basically I've got 60 seconds to read a book, right? So it takes, we'll just round it off. We'll say, I mean, we could even just say 20 seconds. So it's basically 41 seconds. Well, actually, that's not the right way to think about it. I might be leaving money on the table, but it's probably better for me to read the book. So here we'll read the Locksmith's Dream, Stolen Reflections. And that is in the Revelation bookshelf. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. I was going to try and risk it, but honestly, the fact that we're the fact that we're so close, and then I can have just kind of my full arsenal available for tomorrow, where I'm going to be trying to upgrade Edict's Liminal. Of course. Thanks, Mrs. Kill. But yeah, no, the plan is just, you know, have everything ready to go for tomorrow, because Edict's Liminal is going to be the most difficult thing for me to level up. But obviously that was a little unlucky. Okay. With keeper level scale, an old moment can lead to an earthquake name. You've had them too, those moments when we seem to look out at the world through another's eyes. What if those moments were real? So, let's get the focus of all of our effort squared away. Oop. At last, I approach mastery. Improve this skill to level 8. So for the rest of the season, the plan's going to be we upgrade Edict's Liminal. Now, I guess I need to make a decision in terms of what I would like to upgrade next. There's a couple of arguments to make. So one would be, you know, try and bring up something that's I don't think there's another Knock and Moth, but, you know, maybe bring up something like Door and Wall or whatever to you know, just bring up the next highest level, increase the ceiling in terms of different skills. I could apply this to one of the languages, and that would be something that I would kind of commit to the Tree of Wisdoms. Not necessarily the thing. It's not what I started the playthrough thinking of, but there are some fairly solid arguments for that, especially because I've kind of considered the languages to be sort of my foundation. They don't necessarily get me anything by leveling them up, so just kind of locking them in and establishing that baseline so I can start committing other skills to the Tree of Wisdoms, that might be a good enough reason. Night has fallen, dawn will come soon, so I definitely want to lock away the stolen secret for the evening. 6 generations of DeWolf heirs were born in this room. It would have been 7, but Halfrin Waters had the ill grace to be born to Baron Walter in, his family legend has it, a cow byre outside Carisham. Now that night has fallen, I can rest and perhaps dream of the day's doings. Dreaming on a memory will preserve it past dawn, allowing you to keep it until the following day. Okay. Locksmith's Dream, Stolen Reflections, the 4th volume of Teresa Galmier's expansive work, no longer a discussion of the dreams of artisans, but a valuable survey of other works. The tone is calmer than that of Trespasses, but occasionally fearful, even paranoid. This volume was published in 1926, but almost immediately recalled and pulped by the publisher at the request of the author, or possibly the authorities, depending on what story you believe. A few copies survive. Janus is the gatekeeper, the twin god, the god that wounds, the presager of changes, the sun, the moon. So we identify him with the watchman, the twins, with the mother, with the forge, with the Meniscate and the Madrigad. He cannot be all of these, can he? The Flamines knew the church, knew dry land, knew Elagabalus. Is he then synthesis, or is he something else? In Gallicaea they call him Aeneas Limmius, but the Obliviots are notorious for their slanders. Janus has, they say, not one face but 2, to which I reply, why only 1? Why only 2? Hirschalt and Cosley, according to Thomas Love Denman, once agreed that Janus was all the gods and none, but later Hirschalt described him as all the gods and Cosley favored none. Denman was a silister dilettante, but this rings true of them both. Alright, Mrs. Kill gave me another satisfaction, and we have leveled up Inks of Revelation. The skill is now level 8, its power aspects have also increased. So yeah, before I spend too much time thinking about Edict's Liminal here, what to do with my supplemental Edict's Liminal, let's just get the 8 that we need, and then we can plan the rest of the day around whatever other upgrades I want to try and do. given that we were able to level up Inks of Revelation, I shouldn't feel as nervous about trying to do what I'm trying to do right now. But I am going to put a little effort into kind of planning. Ideally, I just like to plan this all properly. So Mrs. Kill's mood always improves when I drop by. Mrs. Kill stands ready to help. You always cheer me up, she says morosely. So, I do have a few options available to me in terms of how I sort of play around with this. Now, one advantage that I have in this case, first of all, we can ignore all the lantern stuff. That's off the... That's kind of off the menu now. And what's worth remembering is that a lot of what I want to do can actually come from Mrs. Kill, so I have a bit of leeway in terms of time. So, for instance, I would like a fear and I would like a hindsight. Both of those I can potentially get from Mrs. Kill. The things that I can't get from Mrs. So, sorry, the things I can get. So I can get an impulse. I can get possibly stolen secrets, but I already have that. Secret thresholds, patterns, salt. Named a riddle, an old moment. Let me make sure that that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I've counted 7. Oh dear. I think I got ahead of myself. Okay. So. Impulse. 1 Moth, named a riddle, that's Moth and Knock. Old moment is Moth and Lantern, and so on and so forth. Secret thresholds, we can get that from a book. Pattern we can get from a book. Salt we can get from a book. Stolen secrets we have. So what is my other Moth or Knock? I mean, if it's weather, it's weather, but... surely I have something. I was at this point before with Lantern, thinking that this was impossible. So I think the problem that I ran into was that I counted the site, and I shouldn't have. So I don't think any of the pets. Again, it's always helpful to just double check things. The cat gives me solace. The chimeric larva will give me fear. Fear is helpful for generating the old moment, but we have other ways of getting fear. So that all sort of washes out. Okay, fair enough. The senses don't apply here. Why don't the senses apply? Because there isn't a Knock sense and there isn't a Moth sense. Okay. So we've gone over the books. And I think my common complaint has been that there really isn't that much in terms of Moth until you start considering the very high-level books, which in theory we sort of have access to, but I've been reluctant to sort of tap into that. And again, there's a couple of corner cases like Salt, but we've already sorted Salt because of its Knock, so unless there's a piece of music that I am forgetting about, but I don't think I am. So what I need to do now is just take a minute and reflect on the types of yeah, okay. So what I really want to think about now would be what kind of how do I put it? So basically, I gotta think... I've been relying a lot on the confounding parable lately. So what I probably want to think about is not just memories, because like there's some memories that I can get from my various skills. So bittersweet certainty, for instance, is a memory that I can get from a skill. But what I'm specifically looking for right now is a memory that gives me knock or moth. Now, I don't even remember if I have Edict's Martial, but there is Old Wound. But the thing is, while Old Wound feels like it should be something that's knock, I guess if it's an Old Wound, it's sealed. And we don't... Oh, no, we do have Edict's Martial. So... Actually, I wonder if I have... maybe before I spend too much time. Because, I mean, you can theorize about some of the stuff, but sometimes it's helpful just to do something, so... Okay. Actually, the more I think about it, the more I think the other factor is moon. Okay, I'm feeling a lot less confident in the Old Wound, actually. Wormwood Dream is something I should be paying a little more attention to. That's actually something that I can... that's a fairly powerful winter and moon item that I should be taking advantage of more often. But again, the focus right now is on Moth and Knock. So what about some of the others? So Torg's Cleansing, but that's an edge only, so that doesn't help me. I'm sorry to spend the time talking about the stuff that isn't helpful, but the idea here is that running through what I can make, like the hope here is just to be a little more comprehensive in terms of, well, basically the more open-minded I am about this stuff, the more likely I'm going to have that aha moment of like, oh yeah, this one does it. So like if it's, you know, Torg's Cleansing or something, you know, I'm not expecting miracles, right? I know Torg's Cleansing is edge only, but this is the type of thinking that if I give myself the time to think about this, it might give me just that quick nudge that I needed to push me over. So now we're pushing into the tougher territory. So there's the name day riddle and there is the old moment. This is at scholar level that I'm kind of going through, unless I, you know, can remember another one. There's also some sort of secret histories oriented ones that it's like a 1 in a million. But this might work out. I think I can get actually, they may even call it a secret history now that I think about it. Okay. So I may need to wait for some weather, which makes me feel uncomfortable, but it's... I mean, it's what I can work with, right? But... Oh, interesting. I just thought there was an old newspaper in here. Okay. There is a room somewhere that gives me an old newspaper, which might give me a... might give me a leg up, but unless I've well and truly blown it in terms of paying attention, it seems we haven't unlocked it yet. And in fairness, I may have just put it in a different place on my other playthrough, so certainly doesn't look like it's here. Okay. Well, I think I'm fairly confident in saying that I do not actually have what it takes for Edict's Liminal. I was mistaken because I thought I had the... I was mistaken because I thought I had the memory... the memory from looking at paintings to work with, and I don't, so I'm at the mercy of weather. The best thing we can do right now is look for that weather. So before I commit any skills or anything like that, let's just see if this is a day where we can make things happen. So fog is really what we're looking for. Okay, sunny day. So this frees me up quite a bit, actually. So just acknowledging that I'm not going to get what I want, let's just refactor the day. Let's, push ahead. Let's do other things that we might be interested in. So first thing I'm going to do is, again, take the walk on the moor. I don't see a lot of value in making the old moment because I'm going to want to carry, the memory that I was going to... I'm going to want to carry that overnight, so no point in preserving more than one. And yeah, at this point we'll just we'll make the most of the day's opportunity. I am going to try and read a book still, which might be actually, do I want to read a book? Maybe I can try and do something else with the day. We have other things that we can do in the house. Let's use the core and the sweet bones. There's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. So I'm intrigued with the Edict's Marshal. I guess I did just use up a whole lot of my moon, so shame on me for that, but... So I figure at the minimum I should be able to figure out what the libidic tincture. Okay. I'm tempted to try and get the old wound, but let's see what comes up when it comes to memories. I also think it's probably not a bad idea for me to try and open this package. I guess we can use the Arab in this case. Crack open the container, delight in your discovery. And then... I guess the other thing I should reflect on, so there's the moon aspect. Now, I don't think we have anybody moon aspected on their own. But if I can make a wormwood dream... Yeah, the wormwood dream is definitely a tough one for me to do, but I should probably make a note of the fact that I can actually generate 6 winter or 6... So under the right circumstances, in fact, maybe we'll even try this with Mr. Kill. If I could somehow make the Wormwood Dream, I would actually be able to bring Mr. Kill in on and clear out the Ravaged Cellar. And I don't think we have anybody who's particularly mothy for today, but maybe maybe the fisherman might be able to help us at some point. Although I suppose if we're getting help from fishermen, maybe we can go to the Squawkful Logia instead. But yeah, what I really should be paying attention to right now is what are the possibilities with the Rustling Stair and the Wheel-Filled Spring, because honestly, like, if it's a question of moon aspect, if I can get 6 out of the Wormwood Dream, that's not that... Like, that's not that much that I need to build up, right? Okay, Mrs. Kill stands ready to help. You always cheer me up, she says morosely. So, let's, again, this is going to be a little bit of a calmer day. I think what I'm going to do here is if Mrs. Kill winds up giving me some memories that I can use to employ Edict's Liminal on another skill, I might use it there. I've carried a memory like a flambeau safe through the mazes of night. And again, I don't mind experimenting with a few different aspects. Oh, here's a question. Do I still have... So I have this pitcher of water. But am I short a pitcher of water? Because I figure I can just use the core for that right now. Surely there's a better place for me to put the Eigengrau. There we go. There it is in Camino Tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. Okay, let's find some places for the flowers. Looks like we're full up. Suppose my outside option is always to put something in Alopolis Nook, but I'm trying to free that up. Okay. More Roscragan whiskey. Would have been nice to have Strathcoin, but whiskey's whiskey. And I've messed up the placement. Okay, well, we'll keep things consistent. There's no possible way this is freeing up enough space. Worth a try. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. It is autumn when the leaves rustle. The silent landlady has served me apple pie with steamed cream in the window nook. Did I not... For some reason I thought I tried to make something with Edict's Marshal, but then I didn't actually deliver on it. Okay, now I'm feeling particularly foolish. So, with the remaining time that I have, let's see what I can do about this Wormwood Dream. So, I've got 3 to work with now. In the right circumstances, I can bring the total... Okay, so with Trist, I can go from 3 to 4, and then with the Lunar Globe, I can bring that to 5, but I wouldn't really be able to... Like, that's really not how this is going to work, for the simple reason that I'm stuck at that point. Like, I don't have anything that I can... anything extra that I can work with. So what I need to look for is a combination of moon things that'll deliver me the Wormwood Dream. So, let's maybe just start by... At this point, just a casual look over the house is sufficient. So it is intriguing to see Solomon's preparation as moon, but there's only one that I get from that, so that's not too exciting. The driftwood, again, that's 1, so doesn't really do the trick. Okay, so I'm definitely... like, it's interesting to look at this, right? It's nice to be able to get an idea in terms of what I'm up against. If I could put a pet in either of these, that would be helpful. I would be very surprised if the... Well, you know what? Moon might come up... No, not in the chancel. Again, I'd be surprised if the moon shows up in the various altars here, but... Yeah, so I got to admit, I'm a little surprised I don't have stronger moon. Stronger moon items. I know we did something to boost our moon in the past. I just don't think I just don't think I can recreate it. Okay, so that probably closes off any dreams I might have had of sending Mr. Kill to go batter down the other rooms of the Cougar Bit. For now, at least. I'm happy to re-examine. Oh man, even... Yeah. Okay. It's always worth examining, but I definitely have a tendency to sort of hold on to an idea a little bit longer than is useful here. So, nice to know. I suspect I probably just experimented with Wormwood Dream and sort of said this costs a whole lot for me to make, so I should do it in very special circumstances. I suppose what I could try and do, given the fact that I do have multiple memories I can put in, I believe the old wound might actually work as an omen here. So in theory, if I could find 2 slightly more powerful moon memories. So let's say it's 2 each. So that's 2, 4. I don't remember if the old wound is 2 or... Well, okay, so if the old wound is 2, then that's a total of 6, in theory. That brings us up to 9. This actually feels worth experimenting with. Okay, well, I'm not going to commit to it. Let's just keep talking with Mrs. Kill, but I'm actually thinking that maybe I should be a little bit more open to examining a few of these possibilities. I may wind up sort of throwing away the day, depending on how things work with the elements of the soul. Like, I think it's a little late in the day for me to try and make things happen with Mr. Kill. Well, maybe not, but we're getting to a point where I'm hitting kind of a point of no return. Wood favored by the horned axe. Let's see what the sea brought in. Mackerel. Eat it while it's fresh, or keep it while it's salted. This mackerel is definitely something I've looked for in the past. Keep it away from the cat. Again, probably running out of space for the wood, but... Okay, not entirely disappointing, but I am going to need... well, number one, I'm just going to need more space. But I think probably I'm going to need to hold off for the day. I'll find stuff to do. I'm not too worried about that, but I think in future I want to be a little more careful in terms of what I'm doing on a given day. I may also wind up making, some tea and things like that. Regret. I wish she'd give me a moon thing. All right, I think I'm going to call it here. So the plan, ideally today, if I can make the old wound just to see if that gives me what I think it's going to give me. The thing to remember about the Wormwood Dream is that it's not going to help me with my Edict's liminal requirement. But what I'm really looking for right now is just something... So depending on what I have at the end of the day, I might commit something to... I'm thinking maybe leveling up Sabazine. Which actually probably means that I need a Moth set aside. Well, it might be sufficient. Let's actually see. So if I wanted to level that up using Edict's Liminal. Okay, I could use a Faust, and then well, actually, I can do that with Foresight right now. So I'll make sure that I leave either Faust or the Whist set aside. But for the remaining elements of the soul, I figure I can... I don't know. I have options available to me if an opportunity comes up, but I think probably what I want to do now is twofold. One, I want to try and I want to try and see if I can make that Wormwood Dream, because that will at least give me something to use Mr. Kill for while we wait. For Edict's Liminal, I want to get myself in the best position that I can to take advantage of something like a foggy day. And I think just because I kind of have my back against the wall with the Edict's Liminal memory, I think I'm going to hold off on reading books for a little while, just because I'm at the point where I'm reading some somewhat powerful books, and I may want to, I don't want to sort of be overwhelmed with lessons at an inconvenient time. But we should... I feel like this week we should be making some progress if we can get like one or two things to break my way. We are kind of relying on the mercy of the game though, so I don't want to completely commit everything to making I don't want to like bet the farm on the weather, let's say, but we'll work it out. As always, though, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.